Hello everyone, good morning. So, as today we are going to discuss about the anti-cancer drugs. So, lastly, in last class we discussed about description about the cancer and as well as the life cycle of the uh, cell, and as well as already we discussed about the various toxicities associated with anti-cancer drugs. Okay, in this class we are going to discuss about the individual class of anti-cancer drugs. In that, very most important drugs are alkylating agents. Okay, so in examination, okay, in final examination, they may ask about individual class of drugs. They ask about the pharmacology of alkylating agents, or maybe they ask about antimetabolites, or they maybe ask about the anti-cancer antibiotic, or they maybe ask about, okay, natural products. Okay, so that you can go through individual class of anti-cancer drugs. Okay, it is very important. Okay, so in first, one is alkylating agents. So alkylating agents, so these are most widely used anti-cancer drugs. So these are now they are phase non-specific anti-cancer drugs. So these are cell cycle non-specific anti-cancer drugs. It means they affect the cancer cells at any stage. Okay, maybe either G0, G1, yes, G2, M phase. So that it is calculating agents are called as cell cycle non-specific anti-cancer drugs, so that their effective on, okay, rapidly proliferating cells and as well as the non-proliferating cells. Okay, they're also effective in rapidly proliferating cancer cells and also effective on non proliferating cancer cells, so that they are effective for rapid growing cancer cells and slowly growing cancer cells. Especially they are used for the treatment of solid tumors. Okay, so when it comes to the mechanism of action, how they stop the replication proliferation of the cancer cells. Okay, so these alkylating agents are attracted by nucleophilic sites. Okay, so these are attracted by nucleophilic sites present on the DNA. Okay, so alkylating agents are attached by, nucleophilic sites, present on the DNA. So what are the examples of nucleophilic sites present on the DNA is, so one is nitrogen bases. Okay, nitrogen bases. Okay, whatever it may be. So adenine, guanine, cytosine, especially. So these nucleophilic sites are attracted by, okay, nitrogen atom. Okay, N7 and O6 atom of the guanine base. Okay, guanine is a, okay, so purine nitrogen base. Okay, where this N7 and oxygen O6 atom of the guanine base are particularly susceptible to attack by the alkylating agent later on. So these are attacked by, okay, so next phosphate backbone. Okay, that is phosphodiesterase bond. So later on, okay, DNA associated proteins. So these are the various nucleophilic sites that are going to be attracted by alkylating agents, so that this alkylating agent, they are highly reactive, so that they form and interact, they form they form strong covalent bond with nucleophilic sites present on the DNA. Okay, so they are highly bind to the DNA. Okay, so what is the main site of action is they bind to the DNA. Okay, when see this picture will describe how they are going to be interacted. So alkylating agents are, so they contain by alkylating agents. Okay, because they contain two alkylate groups. Okay, already clearly if you see that CH2 CH2Cl CH2CH, these are the two bifunctional alkylating. Most of the alkylating agents are bifunctional alkylating agents. So in the system they converted into highly reactive carbonium ion. So Diallo describe that they are highly reactive carbonium ion. So these alkylating agent highly reactive, so that they are going to stable by reacting with nucleophilic sites present on the N7 of the guanine. Okay, so that already this picture will clearly mention. Okay, so N7, they are attacked on the N7 of the DNA molecule. Okay, so this is how definition. Okay, alkylating agents transfer their alkyl groups. Okay, so alkylating agent transfer their alkyl groups to nucleophilic sites present at the DNA. Example, nitrogen or oxygen atom of the nitrogen base, especially N7 O6 of the guanine will be more susceptible for the attachment phosphate backbone and DNA associated protein, which result, okay, after binding to the DNA, what happened, they form, okay, inter and intramolecular cross linking of DNA strands. Okay, they form cross linking, okay, because they have bifunctional alkylating agents. Okay, they bifunctional alkylating groups, so that they form intra means within the DNA strand, single strand. Inter means, okay, opposite strands. Okay, after binding they form intra or intramolecular classing of DNA, which results into somewhere else it disturb the DNA function. Whenever it disturb the DNA function, automatically the proliferating cells stop proliferating. Okay, so that what are the things which are resulting from the cross linking is, okay, first thing is stop replication of DNA. Okay, very important. Okay, after binding alkylating is DNA, the DNA is not available for replication. Okay, so that DNA replication stuff, automatic proliferation of cells will be affected. Second one is abnormal base pairing. Okay, so abnormal base pairing, and what is mean abnormal base pairing means, during synthesis of new DNA, okay, instead of base pairing, okay, so it leads to another base pairing. Okay, so like adenine, okay, AT, okay, adenine bind to T, like this. Okay, cytosine bind to guanine, like this, so that abnormal base pairing is happening. Okay, so instead of binding of one base pair, okay, it binds with other base pair. Okay, so again it leads to the DNA is not functional. Okay, next third one is ultimately DNA chain breaking. So all these contribute to the, okay, stop the proliferation of the, okay, so normal, that is cancer cells. Okay, this is our the mechanism of action of the alkylating agents. Okay, so when come to the examples, okay, so many alkylating agents are there. Please refer the Tripathi textbook. I don't want to tell the in detail about the classification. Please refer the Tripathi textbook for all classification. Okay, next few examples are meclorithamine. Okay, meclorithamine is highly reactive. Okay, within fraction of seconds is going to be interacting with the tissue, okay, DNA, so that if it is administered by any oral route or maybe topically, it will form blisters. Okay, so that it is highly reactive, so that it is given by IV route of administrations. Okay, next chlorambucil, it is not chlorambucin, it is a chlorambucil melphalan, and less reactive, so that they are administered by oral. Cyclophosphamide, it is a prodrug, so it is not a reactive, so it is reactive only after metabolism in the body. Okay, so that it is given by both the oral and IV. So based upon the reactive nature of the alkylating agents, the route of admission also vary. Okay, so this is about mechanism of action of any alkylating agents. So alkylating agents, okay, highly reactive, they form carbonium ions. Okay, in the physiological system, this highly reactive alkylating agent, they transfer, they are attacked by the nucleophilic sites present on the DNA. Example, N7O6 atom of the guanine base, or maybe phosphate backbone, or maybe the DNA associated protein. So after binding with the DNA, they form intra or intermolecular class linking, which results into three things. Okay, one is stop replication of DNA, second one is abnormal base pairing, third one is DNA chain breaking. So which all come together, which stop the replication of cells. Okay, so next is one more anti-cancer drug mechanism, is cyclophosphamide. Okay, so please remember cyclophosphamide. Sometime may ask directly one drug, cyclophosphamide. So cyclophosphamide is a prodrug. It's inactive, pharmacologically inactive. Once it is enter into the body, okay, the liver will undergo metabolism into two products. Okay, so majorly acroleonazole phosphoride musters. Okay, cyclophosphamide ultimately converted into one of the cytotoxic principle. What is the cytotoxic principles of cyclophosphamide? Is phosphoramide mustard. Okay, it is going to be responsible for the anti-cancer activity of the, okay, cyclophosphamide. Okay, this phosphoramide mustard, it's showing its action as we said previously. Okay, it is interacting with the nucleophilic sites present in so and so they form intermolecular cross linking, so later on stop the replication. At the same time, it leads to release of one of the cytotoxic drug, cytotoxic metabolite. Okay, so example acrolein. Okay, acrolein is also cytotoxic, but acrolein is it causes some side effect associated with cyclophosphamide. What is the side effect? Generally, you may observe acrolein is this metabolite and as well as the phosphate mustard, they're mainly eliminated through urine. Okay, so whenever through eliminated through urine, so this acrolein is going to be accumulated in the urinary bladder. Okay, accumulated in the urinary bladder, so that it will cause damage to the urinary bladder, so that it cause hemorrhagic cystis. Okay, it is a special side effect associated with cyclophosphamide. Okay, special toxicity. Okay, due to accumulation of acrolein, okay, in the urinary bladder, so it will cause hemorrhagic cystis. Okay, that is going to be treated by how you are going to be treated by using mesna. Okay, mesna is a compound which is having the sulfide group, SH group. Okay, SH group, sulfide group. Yeah, I think it is a mesna, is a N-acetylcysteine. Okay, this mesna, this is going to be interacting with mesna, so it form non-toxic product. Okay, mesna, it form non-toxic product. Okay, that is going to be eliminated through urine. Okay, so mesna is the antidote, okay, for the toxicity associated with cyclophosphamide. Okay, so this is about the alkylating agents. Okay, so when come to the so this picture will give you representation how they cause fragmentation of the DNA substances. So first thing is that red color, okay, represent the formation of the cross linking. After formation, they cause breaking of the DNA strands. Okay, side effects. Generally, whatever the side effects already we discussed in the first slide. Okay, first class general toxicity, that you should write down, no problem. But magnitude of side effect is more is myelosuppression, is nothing but bone marrow suppression. Okay, bone marrow suppression, myelosuppression, especially suffering from anemia, leukopenia, and thrombocytopenia. Okay, myelosuppression is more side effect, so that because of the myelosuppression is more significant with cyclophosphamide used as a immunosuppressive agent in the other disorders. Okay, like rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, other autoimmune disorders. Okay, maybe to prevent organ transplantation rejection. Okay, next, alopecia is common, GAT, nausea, vomiting is common. Already you discussed hemorrhagic cysts, especially associated with cyclophosphamide, is going to be antagonized by giving N-acetylcysteine, that is called mesna. Okay, so it is consist of SH sulfhydryl SH group, so that they interacting with the acrolein, so it make into inactive. Okay, so this is about alkylating agent. Okay, you need to write the some examples of alkylating agent, then you have to write down the mechanism of action. So then uh, if you want, if you refer the pharmacokinetics in the textbook. Okay, so later on mechanism, ADME list side effects. Okay, so side effects you write down. Okay, so next, this is about the alkylating agents. Okay, next come to anti-metabolites. Okay, anti-metabolite. So exactly what exactly mean anti-metabolite? Okay, anti-metabolite is nothing but, so anti-metabolites are the structural analog of the normal metabolites. Okay, so these anti-metabolites, they are the analogs of normal metabolites. Okay, these are the looking as a normal metabolites, so that metabolites are used for the synthesis of, okay, macromolecules like DNA and RNA. Okay, so that this anti-metabolite competing with the normal metabolites, so that they are either replacing, or maybe they competitive inhibit the they act by competitively inhibit the incorporation of normal metabolites for the synthesis of macromolecules like DNA and RNA. Okay, this is the mechanism of action of the metabolites, anti-metabolites. Okay, so once again I will tell you the definition part. These are the agents are analogs to normal components of the DNA or coenzymes involved in the nucleic acids. So these agents are analogs to normal components of DNA or coenzymes involved in the nucleic acid synthesis. They competitively inhibit the utilization of the normal metabolites. Okay, they competitively inhibit the utilization of the normal metabolites or get themselves incorporated, forming dysfunctional macromolecules. Okay, this antimetabolite, because of the looking for the normal metabolite, either competitively inhibit the utilization of the normal metabolites, okay, or maybe they get themselves incorporated into the macromolecules, so which leads to the macromolecules is not functional. Okay, so this is the definition part of the anti-metabolites. Okay, three very important anti-metabolites are folic acid antagonist, antipyrimidine antagonist, and purine antagonist. So in exam point of view, okay, if they ask write about antimetabolite, okay, if possible you can write all three, or if it's not possible you explain in detail in one antimetabolites, maybe folic acid antagonist. Okay, so antipyrimidine antimetabolites. Okay, so or maybe either antipyrin anti-metabolite. Okay, so folic acid antagonist is methotrexate, antipyrimidine antimetabolic 5-fluorouracil, so antipyrin antimetabolite is mercaptopurine. Okay, now we are going to discuss one by one. Okay, so this is first is folic acid antimetabolite, that is methotrexate. Okay, so it is easy to understand the mechanism action, because already you know the mechanism of action of the sulfonamides. Okay, so in the sulfonamide part, in the sulfonamide chapter, you may know the mechanism of action of the trimethoprim pyrimethamine. So the same story is repeated with this methotrexate. Okay, so here what this picture will describe you is first folic acid, generally it is representing the human cells, so don't write PABA combination of purine, so you write from dihydrofolic acid to dihydrofolic acid and utilization. Okay, first what happened, dihydrofolic acid. Okay, dihydrofolic acid is there, see, this picture will give you about, okay, see, dihydrofolic acid, okay, FH2, okay, is a dihydrofolic acid. Dihydrofolic acid, it is inactive, so it converted into active form of folic acid is tetrahydrofolic acid. Okay, so tetrahydrofolic acid. Okay, this tetrahydrofolic acid is active form of folic acid, so the conversion taken place because of dihydrofolate reductase. Okay, in the presence of dihydrofolate reductase, okay, dihydrofolic acid, okay, formed folic acid. Okay, don't write PABA pyridine PABA synthesis part, you can write from second part of the folic acid synthesis. Okay, second part of the folic acid metabolism, that is from folic dihydrofolic acids to and utilization. Okay, so what happened, so first dihydrofolic acid, okay, in the presence of dihydrofolic reductase converted into tetrahydrofolic acid. The tetrahydrofolic acid is going to be accept one carbon units from other one carbonate donor, then it will transfer the one carbon units to other biochemical reactions. Okay, in this process, okay, it will donate the one carbon unit for the make conversion of nucleic acid from one form to other form. Okay, so tetrahydrofolic acid, it is involved in the synthesis of, okay, synthesis of here nucleotide. Okay, which nucleotide it is a deoxythymidine monophosphate, DTMP. Okay, so for conversion of synthesis of DMP, okay, so this reaction taken place. So what is the reaction? DUMP. Okay, so deoxyuridine monophosphate. Okay, deoxyuridine monophosphate converted into deoxythymidine monophosphate. This is the simple conversion from one nucleotide to other nucleotide. Here nucleotide is a, okay, metabolite. Okay, so it is one of the metabolite. Okay, one of the metabolite. Here folic acid is also one of the metabolite. Folic acid is also one of the metabolite. Okay, see here deoxyuridine monophosphate converted to deoxythymidine monophosphate, and that means conversion of nucleotide from one form to other form. Okay, once this conversion taken place, that the synthesis DTMP is involved in the synthesis of the DNA. Okay, synthesis of DNA is nothing but, okay, so this is happened, synthesis of DNA taking place in the S phase, okay, S phase of the cell cycle, okay, where DNA is going to be replicated, so that this reaction taking place in the S phase. So that's whatever the drugs were called as an anti-metabolite, they are cell cycle specific, cell cycle specific, so they especially inhibit the synthesis of DNA, so that they are highly effective on, okay, rapidly proliferating cancer cells rather than the quiescent or inactive cancer cells, okay, or slowly growing cells, okay, so that they're more effective on rapidly dividing cancer cells, okay. So in the presence of DUMP, DTMP converted in the presence of thiamidylate synthase, so that here this tetrahydrofolic acid acts as a cofactor, okay, acts as a cofactor for thiamidylate synthase, okay. So this is about the synthesis of DTMP, okay. In this, okay, so what is the mechanism of action of our drug methotrexate? Okay, so methotrexate is a anti folic acid antagonist, so it is look like a folic acid. Methotrexate, it is a structural analog of the folic acid, okay, so that it inhibits the utilization of the folic acid for the synthesis of, okay, so nucleotides, okay. How is going to be possible, I will tell you. So methotrexate is a dihydrofolate reductase enzyme inhibitor, because of it look like a folic acid, okay. It compete with the dihydrofolic acid for the binding sites on dihydrofolate reductase, so that it is competitively inhibit the dihydrofolate reductase enzyme, so that the folic acid is not going to be converted from active form to inactive form to active form. What is inactive form? Dihydrofolic acid. What is active form? Tetrahydrofolic acid. This step is going to be inhibited. Whenever this step is inhibited, so again tetrahydrofolic acid is not involved in the, okay, so conversion of DUMP to DTMP, so that step is going to be affected indirectly, so that DTMP is not synthesized, so ultimately the DNA replication stops, so that they will stop the proliferation of cancer cells, okay. So this is about the mechanism of action of the methotrexate. What is the mechanism of methotrexate? Okay, it is a structural analog of the folic acid, so that it is competitively inhibit the synthesis of dihydrofolic acid reductase enzyme, so which causes inhibition of synthesis of the tetrahydrofolic acid, which further stop the synthesis of the, okay, nucleosides, okay, nucleotides, okay, DTMP, okay, synthesis of nucleotides necessary for the replication of the DNA. So this is about the, okay, anti-cancer activity of the methotrexate, okay. So again this is the step, okay. So both pictures are same, okay. For easy representation I will show you again. So this is deoxyribose sugar, okay. This is uridine monophosphate to thymidine monophosphate, okay, in the presence of thymidine synthase. So where, okay, this is a FH2 means dihydrofolic acid. In the presence of dihydrofolic acid is converted into tetrahydrofolic acid. After transfer its one carbonated through thymidylate synthase, means UDMP, again it converted into dihydrofolic acid. Again it is the cycle is continued, okay. Whenever you inhibit that enzyme, so the folic acid trapped only in the, okay, dihydrofolic acid, it is not converted into tetrahydrofolic acid, okay. So this is about the mechanism of action of the methotrexate, okay. So